First business TV interview since being named co-CEO of Ariel Investments in July this year. And I began by asking her what she felt about these record market highs we've been seeing, despite a number of significant headwinds that remain.
I think what we would say is that the fundamentals have been very strong, and that's what we're seeing in the markets. The markets are showing us that the underlying strength of the U.S. economy especially does warrant this performance. And we've been saying that for a long time. It feels as if we've been trying to wish ourselves into a bad market just because it's gone on for so long.
U.S. equities, then, the best place to be at the moment?
It has been, clearly. Now, going forward, I'm a value investor. And so when you've had a run like this, you're always thinking, where in the world can you find value? And clearly there are other parts of the world that haven't done as well. So, but, even in the U.S., which has done so well, there's always value to be had, especially in this market where it tends to be a shoot first, ask questions later kind of environment. So even with the run we've had stocks trade down hard sometimes, and that creates a real value opportunity.
Do you think now is an increasingly important time to be investing in an active way rather than passive way, given some of the nuances in the marketplace at the moment? Well,
certainly I'm an active investor, and I believe in active investing. We've been doing that at Ariel for 36 years now, and there's data out there that shows, especially in certain pockets of the market, you can outperform the market, small cap, international, all sorts of areas of the market over the long term. Lately, there's no question passive has been the winner, but it is a crowded trade. And the risks there really do worry us when you look at all of the people that have piled into passive, how massive the passive investment management companies have become. I think of them as the Amazons of investing now. They're giant and cheap. And I think that has created a self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of the investors piling in. And when that starts to unwind, I'm very, very worried about the risks that are there.
You mentioned it's been cheaper to be a passive investor. We've also seen a price war start to take place in the direct brokers, cutting trades to the cost of zero. Does that mean Ariel's going to have to cut their fees quite soon?
This is what I think. You get what you pay for. And I think we're worth the money that we ask investors to pay. We are truly bottom-up active investors, and we're out there every day hunting for new ideas, and that costs money. I think that to try to play this relative game against passive, they are fundamentally different things. And the example that I give people, you could buy a Jaguar or a Yugo. They're both cars. I'm not even sure Yugos still exist, but they're fundamentally different. And so I think when it comes to active investing for us, we feel very good about our fees here.
As we mentioned, recently been named co-CEO of Ariel, one of the few African American women to lead a big financial company. You also been on the board of JP Morgan, which was 18 months ago, and the first African American woman to join that. How many obstacles have you faced in that climb in the world of finance?
How long do you have? We could sit here for hours.
Plenty of time. It's an important topic.
No, it's been, listen, I'm not a victim. I try to be a victor, and I don't walk around carrying that cross, but clearly there has been a lot to overcome, especially being a woman and a person of color. We call it double jeopardy. And, you have to decide how you're going to show up in life. I've used some of my differences as a way to stand out and to hopefully count and matter and hopefully create an opportunity for others to come behind me by doing a good job and hopefully being excellent.
What advice do you have to your younger self starting out in finance?
Well, first of all, I would say don't worry so much. I spent a lot of time worrying about how to be good. Just do the work. I did do the work. I had my head down, but I was always fretting and hand-wringing, and that doesn't get you very far. And the other thing I would say to my younger self is, and I do believe this, you have to be very confident in your own ideas and be willing to be brave and take risks. And I tell young people that all the time, be brave. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is overcoming it.
There's a big debate in the political world at the moment on our air. Just yesterday, Leon Cooperman was on that certain politicians want to see wealthy people pay more taxes, and certain wealthy people feel they're deserving of the success that they have earned themselves. Where do you stand in that debate? I
guess I stand somewhere in the middle. I think that I know a lot of people who have done extraordinarily well, and I think they've worked very hard for their success, and they deserve it. At the same time, if I look at the U.S. tax system as it relates to individuals, Warren Buffett has been the one that's talked about this very eloquently. It doesn't make sense that he has a higher marginal tax rate than his assistant. And so I do think that I fall more in his camp, that those who can pay more should, but I don't think that you should be penalizing people for success. I think that's the wrong signal to send. I think that's the opposite of everything that America has stood for.
Jamie Dimon, of course, chairman of the board you sit on here at JP Morgan, said that the American dream is alive but fraying. Do you agree with that, and can it be saved in the near future? So
I would say personally I'm an example of the American dream. I grew up the youngest of 6 kids. My mom was a single mom. We had a lot to overcome financially when I was a child. So I'm a testament, and I went from that to going to Princeton and sitting on the board of JP Morgan. Miracles happen. Now, I worked really hard for those opportunities, but the stars had to align as well to create those opportunities for me. I believe the American dream is alive. However, I do believe, and I've said this, capitalism has to work for everyone. And it isn't as working as well for people of color and women in our society as I think it should. You mentioned some of the struggles you had growing up, but how much was financial literacy one of them? And would you encourage people to talk about money more as they grow up? I am an evangelist about financial literacy. And it's interesting, if you ask parents in the U.S. where their comfort level is in speaking to their kids about hard issues, they rank sex and drugs over money. That they have less comfort talking to their children about money than sex and drugs, which is surprising. And that comes out of both our money fears as well as the fact that many of us don't go to schools where money is taught or investing is taught, and we're behind the 8 ball. Having a financially illiterate society is dangerous, and we have to do something about that. We need financial literacy in schools all over the world, not just America.
So what you're saying is people should watch CNBC more?
Well, I think CNBC, but I'd like to see it in classrooms. I'd like to see great textbooks, great opportunities for kids to really understand the stock market investing, because at the end of the day, they're going to be all they have in terms of creating a life for themselves, a retirement account, and things like that, and passing on wealth. It's going to be hard to do that unless someone teaches us.
Once you became financially comfortable yourself, do you remember the first sort of treat you allowed yourself, the first big purchase?
Well, I remember my slogan in 1996 was I was getting a couch. That was like a big deal. I said couch in 96 because I lived in an apartment. I graduated from college in 1991 and I didn't have furniture for years. And I just didn't understand how people bought furniture because it seems so expensive. So my first big thing was I got a sofa, and I used to leave my office in the middle of the day just to go and look at it because I was so excited.
Do you still have that?
I do not have that sofa. I gave it to my niece.
Things have progressed well.
But it was a good sofa.
Sounds like it as well, and obviously close to your heart. Before we run out of time, I wanted to pivot, if I may, to media, of course, another area of your expertise. Do you feel like things are oversaturated at the moment when you look at the sort of streaming market with the various new entrants that launched just last week?
Well, certainly a lot is coming online. I'm on the board of Quibi, in full disclosure, and we're launching in April. But I think that at the end of the day, I believe content is king. It's always going to be about what are people producing, what are they offering up for the customer, and if they have good content, people will come, people will buy it. And we've seen this golden age of television and this golden age of media in so many ways at the same time that we've had this consolidation. I'm excited about what's coming.